Well, hello there and welcome to Talking Tennis. You're probably thinking, but Nick, this is a bit earlier than scheduled. Yes, well, the players came out earlier than scheduled. And this is going to be our coverage of the last match of the day at Queen's Club between Milos Raonic and Taylor Fritz. This is a match that we thought was going to start a little bit later than this, but unfortunately, the previous match between Jordan Thompson and Andy Murray was somewhat curtailed prematurely. So yeah, at the minute we're going to be. We're just waiting. I believe the players are warming up on court right now, or at least it looks like they are. They've got line judges in place. So I've got a notification telling the players we're out. So we'll wait for that to kick off. Apologies if I have started a little bit too soon. What else is happening today? I mean, yes, the players are on court. So it looks like we're about. Milos Raonic is stepping up. So is Taylor Fritz. I think it's safe to say that this is going to be a serving battle all the way. Absolutely going to be all about serves. Both guys serve pretty big. Taylor Fritz is a Wimbledon quarter finalist, so he's been here before. Hello, Jake. Good. I'm not by myself. I was worried for a minute there. So you're going to keep me company today? I hope so. Because it'd be interesting to hear your insight on everything that's going on. Hopefully, I will get someone else joining me on the stream at some point. It's not just me today, but we'll see how that one goes. But if it's just me and Jake, then everything's all right with the world. Yeah, if you hit that like button, help people find the stream. It's a little bit last minute. We weren't sure what matches we could show we were going to be having today because I could only do for about 6 o'clock. And so, but we're underway at the minute with Fritz serving first and getting the first point in the end after a very quick rally. Not expecting there to be many rallies today, to be honest. So we got Raonic. I mean, Raonic looks very different. I mean, he's a man who's visibly in his 30s. No offense to him, but he is visibly older than maybe the last time we saw him regularly on tour, and we can see that he's been missed because obviously he's not been playing that much due to injuries. But so far, this grass court season's going well for him. He usually does well on the surface. Well, that was proven by him winning that epic against Cameron Norrie on Monday in a match where he is upsetting the aces record, most aces served in a single best of 3 match. Norrie still came darn close to winning it, but so far, I think in terms of hype, that was probably the best match of the week so far from across at Queens and Halle. Jake, feel free to throw in other candidates for match of the week so far. Yeah, I do feel sorry for people at Centre Court, particularly since those Queen's Club Centre Court tickets are a little bit overpriced, in my opinion. But I feel more sorry for Andy Murray. To be honest, that was gutting for him to come out and not be fit enough to barely fit enough to start the match. He gave it a good go. It's just really, really unfortunate what happened there for him, and I hope that this is not serious. It doesn't sound like it is on first assessment, which means that he should be fine for Wimbledon, but it does put a cloud over what is likely to be his last Wimbledon, and severe doubts about whether he makes it past round 1, unfortunately. But we will see how this goes. Fritz has held serve. We've now onto the Raonic serve, which is always an absolute, force in its own right. Matthew, you're saying Fritz in 2. What's making you think Fritz in 2? I think Raonic could take this to a couple of tie breaks at least. I don't think it's going to be an easy win for Fritz in 2. So I'd love to hear what your reasonings for why you think Raonic isn't going to get through this one. Inside out forehand winner from Raonic, run around it. Very nice shot there. Don't worry, Jane. Yeah, exactly. Don't worry, Jane, about being late. Yeah, asking about what happened to Andy. Yeah, Matthew, straight on. Apparently, he's tweaked his back in the warm-up. It happens. It's something that maybe he's going to have to get used to as he gets even older. He's edging closer to 40. Not quite there yet, obviously, but he's still 37. But it is a problem that is had. Yes, 47 aces. That was the record I was talking about, Jane, but I couldn't remember what the exact number was. So thank you for that. And well, it wasn't an ace, but it was darn close. Hi, Ashley. Lovely to see you today. 40 love for Raonic. I don't expect there to be much actual commentary from me. Maybe like if there is a rally, I'll let you know. Here we go. Jake's got some supporting Milos. And there you go. So Raonic hits a serve +1 forehand. Yes, Ashley, we've just talked about Andy Murray. You've just missed that, unfortunately. But there's not a lot else we can talk about other than this. I thought we could talk about other than it's just really sad. And we just got to make the most of him for as long as we've got. Matthew, update about Medvedev. Interesting. Do Halle care about him smacking rackets into the grass? I know Wimbledon would care, but does Halle? Also, did Medvedev win that match? I kind of came away because I was watching the Fernandez match, which reminds me I want to check how she's done because I was, until this started, I was quite happily watching that Layla match. Yeah, she has come through that. She came from a set down, made it sort of harder for herself, but she's actually looking pretty good in Birmingham. Fellow Canadian. Oh, Zhang won against Medvedev. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, good win for him. A little bit of a surprise, but that kind of basically means that Medvedev's only chance of being seeded in the top 4 at Wimbledon is if Djokovic doesn't play, which is pretty likely at the minute, but it's not confirmed. We know Lahiri Lehechka is definitely not playing. He's just been announced as pulling out from the tournament. Ashley asking if Milos's favourite. So Matthew in the chat earlier was saying that he thinks that Fritz is doing this in 2. Jake wants Milos to win. I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty close between these guys, to be honest. I can't comment on it, really. It's I can't call it. I mean, I feel like Fritz should win this, but it's no guarantee. If Raonic is playing well on grass, why not? Yeah, James, really sad about Hiri. I was really hoping for to see him improve, but clearly this fracture is really significant. It's such a shame he did it in such a good performance in Madrid as well. Jane predicting a last set tiebreaker for this match. I think that's very likely. Yes, Jake, I put Vika in my rankings. So funny story, like I had to completely overhaul my rankings, my Wimbledon prediction system after last year with Vondrousova. It was kind of heading that way anyway after the Rybakina win because that caught me out as well. But now I'm looking a lot at in the women's draw anyway. The men's tournament system is very different, but my women's system is very much based on consistency throughout the big tournaments, so Grand Slams, 1000s, and then the grass court 500s, and they have the most weight here, like who's consistently making sort of quarterfinals in those kinds of tournaments, and Vika is, and so that's why she made the power ranking, and that's why she's probably going to stay in the power rankings when they come out next week. But slight spoilers for that. Don't know where she's going to be exactly, but I'm highly expecting that Victoria Azarenka is going to be. In my mind, Victoria Azarenka is probably the premium dark horse for the Wimbledon title outside of the obvious choices, those being the current top 4 seeds, Vondrousova and Jabeur. So yeah, that's probably my controversial take of the day. Ashley, my power rankings are on the channel if you want to go and find them. They are for WTA only. I only do WTA power rankings. But they are on the channel. If you go to Talking Tennis, find videos, watch it. It's about 15 minutes long. And then let me know what you think. You can put that in, maybe let us know in the comments of that video what you think, and we'll have a chat about it. But depends if you want to do that during or after this live stream, but I'd certainly want to hear your thoughts. You certainly have Andreeva winning Wimbledon, which is interesting. And she is in my power rankings for part 1. Whether she stays in there for the final version, I don't know, but right now she's got a hype behind her that I have to reflect that in the current state of play. But it's really going to depend on, because she's not playing this week. Where is Andreeva playing? Is Andreeva doing a grass court warm-up? Because I thought she was playing Birmingham, and then it turned out she wasn't. So caught me out a little bit there, to be honest, because I think I said in another podcast that she was playing Birmingham. And then, because I'm sure I saw her name in the mix. Is she playing Bad Homburg or is she playing Eastbourne? Not something I want to look up right now. By the way, it's still a serving battle. But yeah, Andreeva is in there because obviously not only the French Open semi-final, but she came probably within a few points of reaching the quarterfinals at Wimbledon last year on her debut. So to me, she is an outside chance of she's got a good chance of doing that again. But it's very competitive to get on the power rankings at the minute. Jake, I know you'd absolutely love to have Vika in the mix for that. And like, there's something in me that's like, if Wimbledon's going to give us a surprise champion, I'd love it for Victoria Azarenka to win a Grand Slam, finally get her third one 11 years after she won the last one. And she's pretty good on grass as well. Unreturnable serve from Milos Raonic with 2 games all. This match is motoring pretty fast, it has to be said. If you're probably wondering why I'm not commentating on it, it's because I'm responding to the chat and having a conversation with everyone here. So if you want to have a conversation with me, get in the chat. Don't let just be Ashley and Jake and Matthew in there. Hannah Klugman, Ashley, you're talking about Hannah. Yep, I would agree. I mean, I haven't actually watched her play. I don't think. I think I may have watched. No, I think I did watch her briefly at Wimbledon last year, but her game is so unrefined at the minute. As Raonic slices a backhand into the net, 15-love Fritz. Yeah, Hannah's got a lot of potential, as does Isabel Lacey. So Klugman is a name that I think we're going to be talking about very soon. Raonic winning back-to-back matches. So yeah, so basically you're saying, okay, so Raonic, you think, is that because of his fitness, a bit of match rustiness? What's holding him back from winning back-to-back matches? Because that is good reasoning from you, Matthew. There has to be said. So yeah, on board with that. Let me look up Raonic on the ATP site and see how he's doing. See if he's see when the last time he won back-to-back matches was. I mean, Ashley's saying it was last week, but message for you, Jake, by the way. I have a feeling I know what it is because I'm looking at Talking Tennis's social media. Given sort of you've been watching some doubles, John, I think I know who it is, but I'm going to let John reveal that. 40-15, by the way, in this match. Fritz trying to take this to another change of ends. This match has definitely passed really, really quickly. Hopefully, everyone here is enjoying. But yeah, do get in the live chat and talk with us for a bit. What was I looking at? Milos Raonic, back-to-back matches as Fritz easily wins this point. I definitely think we're going for some tie breaks here. It's going to have to take a lot to someone to drop off the serve quite a lot. Jake's probably looked at Talking Tennis's social media and now he knows. Living the dream. Oh, Matthew. Oh, you recognized Jack, did you? Yeah. So Jack was there because he is part of a charity that is supporting tennis in Scotland and sort of promoting, amongst other things. And so encouraging kids to get active in Scotland specifically. And so because of his association with the charity, he was picked to do that coin toss. But yeah, great gig. I think he had a very good time being there. Right, let's have a look at Milos Raonic's activity, not just on the screen, but also activity history. So I've got it on my phone, so I'm not necessarily looking at the camera. Oh yeah, so Ashley's right. He did win back-to-back matches last week in Den Bosch. So he beat Jordan Thompson and Roberto Bautista Agut and then lost to Alex de Minaur in straight. And Alex de Minaur was actually a pretty good loss, given de Minaur went on to win the title. Also won back-to-back matches in Rotterdam against De Jong and Bublik, but then had to retire after losing the first set of the tiebreak to Yannick Sinner. So he's gone back-to-back a couple of times this year. And there's no reason why not. And look at the players he's beating. Maybe Fritz is a step above potentially, but it depends on how he's feeling. Like grass shouldn't be too. These grass courts shouldn't be too taxing on his body physically. But then I would have said the same thing about Rotterdam indoors. But it's a hard court, I suppose, not as much cushioning. I can't remember what he's been injured with, because does anyone remember what Milos Raonic has been specifically injured with in the past? Someone let me know. Honestly, in terms of Ashley's question around what can these two do better in terms of returns, not much. I think you have to be like Djokovic levels to get these balls back. To be honest, I think it's just going to take a dip in serving. Oh, Jake's saying it's knee and back issues for Milos. So yeah, that's not going to be ideal for. I can see why indoor hard would still take a toll on him, even if the points are shorter. Also, Rotterdam is a slower indoor hard court, so yeah, these quicker courts shouldn't be too physically taxing on Raonic. But we'll have to see if Fritz is in the same sort of league as Alex de Minaur. First serve from Raonic is off the top of the head and long. So it's a second serve for Taylor Fritz to look at. So there you go. It's like, yeah, returns on second serves are going to be critical in this match, particularly if he gets to a tiebreak. Huge first serve from Raonic, though. Second serve from Raonic, like 113 miles an hour. Second serve, it's an ace. It's 40 love. He's looking very good out there, is Milos. It's very weird to me also seeing him not wearing the compression sleeve, because obviously that was his iconic look from back in 2016 when he had the year of his life, got to world number 3, pushed Andy Murray in a couple of matches. And I'm thinking Australian Open semi-final and then the semis of the ATP finals in 2016. He didn't really push Andy that much in the Wimbledon final. It was 3 close sets for Andy, but Andy winning felt inevitable throughout the entire match. But the other two, yeah, Milos was really in the mix. Obviously did also get his the greatest win of his career by beating Roger Federer in the Wimbledon semi-finals from 2-1 down. The only time Roger Federer has ever lost a Wimbledon semi-final was against Milos Raonic. 15 love for Fritz, by the way. He's got a monster serve as well. You know, he's got a history at Wimbledon. Like he's got second week, a couple of years in a row. Pushed Nadal, obviously. I think he pushed Nadal to literally breaking point in that quarterfinal that they played in 2022, which John probably doesn't want us to talk too much about. But yeah, maybe Had he been a bit more clutch, maybe he would have been in the semi-finals against Kyrgios, and then who knows who would have been the final out of those two. 30-15, by the way. Still huge serve +1 winner from Fritz. I'm not planning on getting too overexcited this match because I am struggling a little bit with my chest still. I've had an illness for over a week. Don't know what it is, but you may hear me coughing or drinking water a lot. As again, unreturnable serve from Taylor Fritz, 40-15, and we've been streaming for about 20 minutes, and we're already halfway through the first set. This has been a quick match, and this may well be a quick stream. Yeah, Jake, agree. Fast forward to the tiebreak. This does feel like that. The tiebreak is going to be where the drama's at, if we are being completely honest. Backhand into the net from Raonic, and we're changing end again at 4-3. Something I've been getting very hyped about, actually, is the prospect of Sinner and Alcaraz winning Halle and Queens, which probably won't happen now I've said it. But if it were to happen, then we'd be looking very good for the first time that the Halle and Queens champions will be facing off for a Wimbledon title since 2008. The only other times that's happened is 2003 and 2004 and 2005 in the finals. Federer-Roddick. It happened in the semi-finals a couple of times. Federer-Roddick in 2003 semi-final, and then Federer-Murray in the 2015 semi-final. Can you guess the theme here? So the question is, can Jannik Sinner be the first Halle champion other than Roger Federer to reach the Wimbledon final? Ashley, I believe you're talking about Giovanni Mpetshi Pericard, who is rapidly rising up the ranks, and certainly Ashley's rating him very highly. And I can agree. You know what? It's crazy, but he's going to have to be given a wild card to play Wimbledon, because at the minute his ranking was too low when the entry list came out around. When the entry list came out, because it was based on the rankings straight after Rome. And obviously his charge began in the week before Roland Garros, that very same week. So he was outside the top 100 at that point, and so didn't get into Wimbledon. So the only way Giovanni Mpetshi Pericard is going to be able to play Wimbledon is if he's given a wild card, or he's going to be playing qualifying. Actually, if Mpetshi Pericard wins Queens, he would wins the title in Queens, he would be in a position to be seeded for Wimbledon. At that point, I feel like Wimbledon would have to give him a wild card. Surely. They usually traditionally give it to the Ilkley Challenger winner, but I think this would have to supersede that. Raonic serving at 15 love, by the way, goes out wide. The second serve follows up with the forehand to the Fritz. Forehand cross court. Forehand Raonic up the line is wide. 15 all. There's not been many rallies, so it's very difficult to analyze exactly what's going to make the difference in the rallies between these two. I honestly think this is literally going to come down to whoever makes the more errors, or their serve percentage drops. Huge first serve from Raonic. Fritz somehow gets that back in bay. Backhand cross court from Raonic. Fritz can't do anything with it. 30-15. Because I don't see... There's no obvious weaknesses with these players. Fritz maybe could do a bit more with his backhand. Raunic's movement could be better, but at this kind of... when they're not playing people like Alcaraz or Sinner, it's not necessarily going to make a huge amount of difference. Again, huge first serve from Raonic, and Fritz cannot get that back over the net. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this match. Any other tennis questions as well that you have. So I know there's about 10 people watching on YouTube. You're all welcome to get involved in the chat. We've got a few people watching on X as well. Please do, reply to us. Get involved in there. As huge point is recognized by Jake there. Yeah, 4 games all here in Queens already. Julian, lovely to see you as always. Hope you are here and you're enjoying our coverage. So yeah, send me your tennis questions, thoughts from sort of weeks so far, or you want to talk to me about my power rankings for Wimbledon, my WTA rankings if you've seen them already, or you just want to ask me some ATP stuff about what's going on. I've just heard Daniel Medvedev's lost. I didn't see that match. I was watching Leila Fernandez come from behind to win against Golubic. I kind of thought that Medvedev had it against Zhang, and then clearly not. Zhang has got a good result there. But yeah, the bottom half of that Halle draw is really opening up. Still think, based on my chat with ATP Weekly, with Damien on ATP Weekly, that ATP Weekly, that yeah, it's probably going to be Hurkacz or Berrettini making the Halle final from that half of the draw. Great forehand winner from Raonic. Love 30. Okay, maybe there isn't going to be a tiebreak. Raonic has an opportunity to... Oh, great return from Raonic. He's going to come in for the slice. Dumps it in the net. 15-30. He came in behind. Came in behind that great return. Saw his opportunity. Did not execute that slice at all. First up, the T from Fritz and ace. We're back to 30 all. Ashley, I'm not going to do my power rankings just yet. I want to see what we're getting through the game. But also, I'd rather you went and watched the video, to be honest. First up the T from Fritz is long. So good serve. Backhand in play from Raonic. Forehand cross court from Fritz is a winner. Matthew saying that might have been Milos's chance. Maybe. Depends how confident you are in Fritz's ability to lock down. To be fair, he's getting better at that. Is it Eastbourne champion as well, Fritz? I've just remembered that. Second serve for the American. Cross court from Raonic. The forehand from cross court from Raonic. Forehand up the line. And there we go. It is... Fritz leading 5-4 and Raonic just going to have to stay in the first set. I don't know Taylor's tiebreak record, so actually, if Jake or Matthew have that to hand, I'd really appreciate it. I don't have a producer today, so it's harder for me to kind of look all these things up on the fly and be super detailed. So if anyone has that to hand or is willing to go and look that up for me, I'd really appreciate it. We're all going to have to work together on this one. Yeah, so yeah. I mean, there's also, to say that with my power ranking, is it's not the final version. So there is a part 2 coming for the WTA power ranking next week. So if you do decide to go and watch my power ranking, just be aware that it is going to change for after Berlin, because Berlin is going to could well change a lot, because the way I calculate it is very heavily weighted by grass court 500 quarterfinals. Interesting. I'm getting 2 different records here. Ashley's saying it's 18-3 for Fritz and 32-9. I don't know what time period, because Jake's got 138 to 105 career. This year. Okay. So both pretty good in tie breaks, I would say. It's highly likely that's where we're going with this one. I don't know about who's coaching Fritz. It might well be his mum, but I don't know too much about that, to be honest. Um, wasn't aware of the situation there. Fritz gets a block back return in. Franch is going to do a drop volley at the net. Fritz passes in with a lob, 15 all. Fritz suddenly now 3 points away from the set. And again, it's a very tentative slice at the net from Raonic. He got that one over, but Fritz could pick that off with the lob. And it was a very well executed lob. There's an answer from Jake about Fritz's coach. Yes, Michael Russell, aware of him. So maybe it's just his mum who's coming to see him. Maybe she's wanting a trip to Britain, to England, which, a lot of Americans do. Want to do that at least once. First up from Raonic out wide is an ace, 30-15. I don't know who's commentating on this match, by the way, but I know the BBC commentary on Queens has a very poor reputation. It's a great reputation, always. So hopefully, me rabbiting on is as good as that, and you're enjoying hearing me talk whilst watching this match. Or maybe I'm the one who's kind of bringing you all the action because you can't watch. Short return from Fritz means Milos puts the cross-court forehand at the net safely into space, and it's 40-15. Definitely think they won't have a problem with this match going like 2 hours, 2-3 hours, or anything like that. This is going to be a quick one. Even if it goes 3. Ace from Raonic, game 5 all. What's going on around, by the way? So obviously, again, oh gosh, yeah, Zhang got that in a same set tiebreak. Interesting. Zverev's early breakup against Sonigo and Halle. We've got Birmingham. That's Potapova's already a breakup on Bronzetti, 3-love. In the final match on the main court there, final singles match of the day there. And then in the German Open in Berlin, which obviously I believe John is coming to us now from that. We've got, the match has been suspended. It's raining again. Siniakova leading 5-3 against Zheng first set. Would not surprise me if Siniakova won that match. Obviously, she beat Zheng in the first set. Beat Zheng last year at Wimbledon. It was a first round match. I actually watched it. I was at Wimbledon. I caught that match on the outside courts there. It was good fun. Nolan, lovely to see you. Hello. So yeah, it's raining again in Berlin. I actually was a little bit surprised that Zheng beat Saka, given Zheng's record against a record on grass. I thought maybe Osaka would have something a little bit more, maybe a bit more confidence on the surface, but those two clearly like playing each other, or at least those like Zheng has the ability to run Osaka close. And Fritz holds. So Raonic now needs to hold for the expected tiebreak in this match. Siniakova's, hopefully they'll get to come out and play again. But given it's about 7:30 in Berlin now, I suspect that that's the play done for today, and they're going to have to do a lot of catching up tomorrow because we only have one quarterfinalist, and that's Victoria Azarenka. She beat Zeynep Somnes, friend of the show. friend of the show. And then, well, Jabeur finally got through against Won Jinyu in a match that was probably tougher than I thought that. Jake, fire away. Let's go. Want to hear your question. I don't want to necessarily compare career high rankings, actually, because Taylor's a much earlier in his career than Raonic was. Raonic is. In fact, if I'm thinking about how old is Taylor now? Taylor's 24. Milos was 5 to 6 years younger and healthy. Do you think he'd win Wimbledon in this current era on the ATP? Good question. That's a very good question, Jake. I will say this: if Hubert Hurkacz and Matteo Berrettini aren't easily winning Wimbledon, I don't think Milos Raonic is either, albeit maybe his game's a bit more well-rounded than the other two. I think he'd be in the mix. I think he would challenge, but I think Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz are too good right now. And it would require them to be off for Raonic to have a chance. So that's why I think Raonic, though the big servers will always have a place at Wimbledon, they're always going to be strong. The guys who have decent serves and a stronger all-around game and a fantastic return are going to be the ones who will still prevail. So for me, as good as Raonic is, I don't see him easily beating Alcaraz or Sinner. No, we know what Iga's doing with her prize money. She's getting Taylor Swift tickets. So there you go. That's what she's investing it in. Clearly, I think Taylor Swift's the one subject that seems to make her come alive. It appears in when you watch a lot of her videos. Now I need to make sure I Google Taylor Fritz and not Taylor Swift, which I have mixed up on a stream before. I have accidentally suggested that Taylor Swift is playing tennis on the ATP tour, which would be funny to see. Oh, Taylor Fritz is 26. Okay, so he's older than I thought. How'd you get to that level? Don't know. No one's ever been able to answer that question, Ashley. How'd you get to the level of Sinner or Carlos? How'd you get to the level of Djokovic? No one knows. It's just that magic ingredient of being able to produce your very, very best level on an insanely consistent basis. There is an X factor involved here that I don't think anyone's really fully understood. And you just have to sit back and acknowledge that sometimes somebody's just that special. We're into a tiebreak now, by the way, so we'll probably start keeping a closer eye on things. As first serve from Fritz is off the top of that and wide. Raonic, by the way, because I want to see this. Second serve from Fritz, forehand up the line from Fritz, backhand, Raonic scrambled into play. Forehand Fritz up the line. Raonic is going to have to scramble the backhand. Fritz is going to come in behind that, drags the forehand volley wide. Potentially critical mistake from Taylor Fritz. He had that point, but Raonic kept on playing him every extra ball. He had the opportunity to volley into space, and he dragged it too far. 1-0 for Raonic. Something interesting to note is that Taylor Fritz is now older than Raonic was when he made the Wimbledon final. First serve from Raonic is too good, 2-0. Maybe. Yeah, I agree with you, Jake. That missed volley could end up deciding the tiebreak. It's very early days, but I think so. That Sage Ebbs on Twitch. Hello, Sage Ebbs. You'll probably be pleased with that. Oh, Raonic just pushed that backhand up the line wide. Not pushed, like overhit it. And suddenly it's 2-1. And yeah. Ooh. 2-1. Back on serve in this tiebreak. Huge serve from Fritz. Ace, 2-all. And this tiebreak is going to literally come down to who makes the most mistakes. First serve up the tee. Say, Jabs, what's Fritz stealing? The tiebreak? I feel like Fritz should... Forehand inside out. Backhand up the line from Raonic. Forehand. Fritz. Oh, his error's been forced and Raonic restores the mini break advantage 3-2. And that was in a rally and that was some good play from Milos Raonic. 3-2. Fritz frustrated. I'm looking forward to seeing what Jake's answer is to Nerland's question. Of course, something Taylor has, however, Milos Raonic, is that he's won a Masters 1000 and Milos Raonic has not. Not at me. First serve, ace. No. Thought it was an ace, but clearly just wide. Fritz. Oh, yeah, they're challenging the call. So it's a challenge from Fritz, from Raonic, and it's wide. So it's a second serve for Milos Raonic. Goes up the tee, huge second serve, but he's overdone it. He was going for another second serve ace, and that cost him this time, and it's 3-3. Okay, we've got some Spanish football chat going on here as well. Of course, the big game tonight, Scotland versus Switzerland. Well, it's going to be a big game for the Talking Tennis team anyway, given we have a very high proportion of Scots involved on the team. Tom, Jack, and of course, friends of the show, Claire and Scott. First serve into the net for Milos Raonic. They've changed into the 3-3. The Raonic serve now breaking down a critical point. Second serve. He's going to try not to go for too much on this one. Backhand in play from Fritz. Forehand cross court from Raonic. Back behind to the Fritz. Forehand who manages to find it. But forehand Fritz just clips the line. Slice from Raonic cross court. Backhand Fritz cross court is long. Raonic did very well to win the point there. He was in control. Fritz's defense, though, fantastic. And it's 4-3 Raonic. Fritz to serve. By the way, Ashley, if Jake takes his time answering Nerland's question, then may as well jump in. Maybe he's engaged in this tie break. First serve is wide from Fritz. Second serve. Forehand in play from Raonic is inside out. Fritz is having to scramble that one like it's short. Raonic is coming in. Lob from Fritz. Raonic reaches the overhead. He uses the height to his advantage. He gets another mini break lead in this tie break. That's the third time he's taken a mini break advantage. Can he hold this one? It's 5-3 to the Canadian. It does have to be said, when they get into a rally, Raonic is the one with a little bit... Raonic is playing the rallies just that little bit better than Fritz right now. Still not much in it, though. It's a knife edge. Great return from Raonic. Really short. Drop shot from Fritz. Raonic is there. Oh, the drop shot's way too good from Fritz. 5-4. Raonic realised he couldn't have a hope of picking that up. Two serves now for Raonic. With his serve, he should put this away. But he's conceded a mini break advantage 3 times in this match. (5-4). How much will the nerves play for Raonic? First serve up the tee is really good, but Fritz somehow gets it back in play. Forehand from Raonic is overplayed. He overplays the +1. And that's tightness from a man who knows that these opportunities may not be coming so often for him at this point in his career. And it's 5-5. And certainly if Raonic wasn't overplaying some of these shots, he'd have this tiebreak tied up by now. Serve out wide from Raonic. That's in. Raonic is going to run around and hit the other side. Forehand. Backhand from Fritz. Backhand up the line from Raonic. Short. Forehand from Fritz. The forehand of Raonic into the net. Raonic has made 2 forehand errors and 6-5 Fritz with the mini break. And this tiebreak has suddenly gone completely to pieces for Milos Raonic. And Taylor Fritz now has set point on his serve. Raonic clearly frustrated with himself right now. Taylor Fritz stepping up. 6-5. Serves up the tee. Raonic can't get a play on it. It's unreturnable. Fritz takes the tiebreak 7-5 despite being behind in it 3 times. He somehow squeaks that out when Raonic blinked. And things might be going the way that Matthew predicted all the way back at the start of the match. First set Fritz, 7-6. And Sage Ebbs is obviously very happy with that scenario. Obviously supporting Fritz right now. Great. And to be fair, he did well to keep himself in it. His defense on some of those points was really, really good. And you have to say, with the way the Queen's draws kind of fallen apart a bit, Fritz should be the favourite to make the final. Now, that shouldn't be that controversial to say, I don't think. Diminor going out early on really opened things up. Dimitrov out as well to Sebi Korda. Oh, these are your top 3 Spanish tennis players, Ashley. I think Nerlan was asking about Spanish football players. But interesting, like Carlos Moya, David Ferrer, Rafa Nadal. Good choices. Don't remember Carlos Moya too well. I've definitely seen him. I remember him sort of the latter part of his career. I remember watching him losing 5 sets to Tim Henman in what ended up being Tim's last Wimbledon, I think, because he went out to Feliciano Lopez in 5 sets the next match. But yeah, Moya was good. Ferrer, obviously, I liked Ferrer, if anything, because he was still representing the Prince racket, and I play with the Prince racket still. And then I also liked his dogged determination, and of course, Rafa's just special. Back out, players are back out on court. Yes, actually, I really like Andy Roddick's podcast as well, actually. I don't often get to listen to it. I don't have a lot of time for podcasts, but when I do, then it's one of the first ones I listen to. Great analysis there from Jake. Completely agree. Huge, like perfect 7 for 12 games, and then the tiebreak gets messy. But then I suppose it makes sense because suddenly the pressure on the serve increases so much during that tiebreak. You have to get it right. You have to be perfect there. You have to, like, that's when the serve becomes more critical, I would say, in a tiebreak. So I'm not surprised the guys got tight. But in the end, Raonic just got too tight. Otherwise, he would be a set up right now. He's already 30 love up on this game because his serve's backfiring again. Not quite though. That's one of the most spectacular lets I've ever seen. Bounces really high after that initial contact with the net. Jake, there you go. That's Jake's favorite Spanish player, Muguruza. Good choice. No, Ashley, Nerlan didn't specify whether men or women. Hang on, I'll get Nerlan's question up on the screen for you. Top 3 Spanish players of all time. Could be either. Having said that, he then followed it up with this. 40 love Raonic, by the way. Backhand up the line. Slice from Raonic. Backhand Fritz up the line. Back to the Raonic. Forehand who goes up the line. Fritz just scrambles that back. Raonic is there with the forehand to put it cross court into space. Game 1-0. Julian, okay, you've now watched the power rankings. Okay, so what did you think? I reckon there's probably some controversial names in there, and maybe the order's a little bit controversial as well, but it is very early stages. It is very early stages. You need to wait for part 2 to come out next week, because that's where I'm going to revise the ranking in light of what happens in Berlin and Birmingham and what will be going on. I'm going to try and incorporate as much of what happens in Eastbourne as possible, but you can only take Eastbourne into account so much for these things. Julian, I'm not an expert. Hate to tell you this, I'm really not. But like, I appreciate that you hold my tennis opinions in high regard. There we go. There's Jake's favourite Spanish footballers. Fritz, they love already after some great serves. But yeah, Julian, would you change any of the players in the list? Would you swap some of the order around, or do you think I've got it about right? Forehand side out from Raonic is long. It's for your love. Gonna get to. So I was struggling a bit. It's great serve from Fritz. He then follows up with a drop shot. Raonic can't reach it. Game. And maybe Fritz knows that Raonic is struggling a little bit. Maybe he's not. It's a bit slower, but certainly Fritz's drop shot's been very effective today. Yeah, I have to say that. Yeah, drop shot from Taylor Swift. Love it. Just who knew she could play tennis so well? Maybe Iga's been giving us some tips. Raonic, first serve, wide, very wide of the tee. Oh, double fault from Raonic. That's a spectacular double fault as well, off the top of the head and over the baseline. Love 15. Second double fault of the match for me is Raonic. I think Ashley's giving live reactions to my choices. First serve out wide from Raonic is very, very good on the line. Fritz can't get much on it, 15 all. Interesting perspective there, Julian. Yeah, you know what? I would. Yeah, I would agree with that to a certain extent. Like I went back and forth over which order Vondrousova and Jabeur was going to be, but I went with Vondrousova because I feel like obviously Vondrousova is defending champion and that gives her a little bit more weighting, but also I do think she's been a little bit more consistent than Jabeur recently. I do not want to write Jabeur off, though, because I do think she is a title contender at Wimbledon this year. I will say this, the top 7 in my WTA power ranking will most likely be in the final power ranking. A final power ranking that comes out next week. And then basically it's going to come down to whether I swap Andreeva, Collins, and Osaka for other people. And then it depends if anything changes, some orders around. First up, the T from Raonic's ace, 40-30. That's interesting. Yeah. Okay, so you have more confidence in Jabeur beating Goff on grass than you do Vondrousova beating Goff on grass. That's an interesting take. And I could see your point. Winner from Raonic on the forehand after Fritz's return just clips the line. So great play from Raonic there to get to 2-1. Yeah. I think both of their forms have been iffy, Julian, Vondrousova and Jabeur, but their potential on grass is what's kind of elevating them a little bit. And like previous Wimbledons do have an impact on this, which is another reason why Azarenka's in the mix, because she is a former semi-finalist, albeit from a long time ago. But yeah, I could see what you mean. I could see a scenario where Vondrousova finds a way of outcrafting Coco. But yeah, it's the obvious choices at the minute is Rybakina or Sabalenka as the ultimate favourites. But let's see what if they both lose in Berlin tomorrow. I would be probably rethinking that. Oh my word. Yes, you're asking me to pick WTA experts. I mean, I would say that I trust most people on the team to have a very good input on the WTA and their assessment. Like I'd say the people I most defer to would be people like Damien or Jack or Vanch, because they watch a lot more than me. They understand the technical side a lot more than I do. I just watch a lot of it because generally I would choose to watch WTA over ATP, whereas I think it's a bit more even for everyone else. So don't get me wrong, I'll watch ATP, particularly when it gets to finals week. You fight the finals, but my preferred tennis of choice is the WTA. So I watch them. I watch that a little bit more. Very kind of you, Sean. Once again, yeah, Miles watches a lot of WTA, and that seems to be where his bread and butter is as well. Albeit, I think one of the fun things about Miles and I is our takes are not very different. Are quite different sometimes. Yeah, I don't want to put anyone down. I don't want to like say that like there's some people who don't know what they're talking about, because that's definitely not the case. Someone else's opinion, actually, two other people's opinions I really value. Kira, who also watches a lot of WTA, and then and Isabel as well. And I think whenever Isabel's commentating, I think it's worth paying attention to whatever she said. WTA is a bit unpredictable. Yes, Sean. Egan makes things. Oh my word! That is a huge forehand winner from Raonic. She's got to love 40 on the Fritz serve. We might have a break here. First, I've got the T from Fritz's ace, 15-40. I'm going to answer questions in a minute because I think we should get through this critical game because Milos might be about to break here. First up into the net from Taylor Fritz. Short second serve from Fritz, and Raunic's backhand is in the tram line, 30-40. Dragged it wide. $30-40. First serve from Taylor Fritz, clips the net and is in, so it's a let. Pressure moments. For Taylor Fritz, trying to save one more break point. First serve, up the tee. Again, Raonic gets a racket on it, puts it in the net. Deuce. So Fritz may have dug himself out of trouble here. By the way, Ashley, you're going about young players. You know Sloane Stephens is over 30. Second serve from Fritz, short. Backhand from Raonic up the line. Backhand cross court from Fritz. Slice from Raonic cross court. Forehand inside out. Backhand up the line from Raonic is wide. Advantage Fritz. First serve at the tee. From Fritz is an ace, and he gets the game. Dug himself out of trouble. 2 games all. Raonic may have missed another chance there. We'll have to see. Ashley, my response would be same. That's my stance on Azarenka as well. Yeah, but like I'll tell you the list now, Ashley, because you've tried to find the video anyway. So my WTA power rankings is number 10, Osaka, number 9, Danielle Collins, number 8, Mira Andreeva, number 7, Victoria Azarenka, number 6, Ons Jabeur, number 5, Marketa Vondrousova, number 4, Coco Gauff, number 3, Iga Swiatek, number 2, Arina Sabalenka, and number 1, and my current favourite for the Wimbledon title, Elena Rybakina. I'm loving the fact, by the way, that we're derailing an ATP stream for the WTA. It's so nice because I know a lot of WTA streams get derailed by ATP talk. So I'm loving the fact we're talking WTA. Double fault from Raonic to get to 15 all. Gauff, I could see being favourite after Berlin. Really depends on how Berlin goes. But yeah, I was a little bit more confident on recent grass results of Rybakina and Sabalenka in like the last couple of years that put them above her. And that's literally it. Because I think in terms of matchup, I think Gauff's defense, we know frustrates Sabalenka and could well do the same to Rybakina. Backhanded just at clears net from Fritz. Inside out forehand from Raonic. Backhand up the lane from Fritz. Forehand cross court from Raonic. Fritz scrambles the forehand really short. Backhand from Raonic. Oh! Back behind Fritz who slips. He's fine. He's not hurt, but it's 30-15. Yeah, actually, I can't justify making Andreeva the favourite for the title. She's good. She's in the mix. Outside chance, but it is an outside chance. I don't know whether she's mentally ready to win yet. As in, like, in terms of experience, like the occasion of a Grand Slam semi-final got the better of her. I think she'll win the next Grand Slam semi-final she plays, but then how's she going to handle a Grand Slam final? She will win a lot more when she gets the experience. And you remember, she's still 17. Like, her game's not anywhere near complete yet. But the base level she's got is so, so good. Slice backhand from Raonic is a winner. Game 3-2. I don't think Katie Boulter doing well at Wimbledon would shock anyone, by the way. Same with Julian. Like, yeah, Katie Boulter's a dark horse in grass court tennis. I agree. I think she was unfortunate not to get past the 3rd round of Wimbledon last year. And I could see her making second week quarterfinals. Let's see how she matches up, but I think she could take it to pretty much anyone on grass. I want to see how Katie does in Eastbourne before I put her in the top 10. Glad to know we all agree on Rebecca being the favourite at the minute. There are some people who wouldn't. There are a lot of lack of confidence in Rebecca by some people out there. By the way, very kind of you, Jake, to say that you look forward to streams I do, streams that myself with Damien and Vunch. I actually went back and I worked out how many streams we all did, and certainly if you enjoy watching myself or Damien or Vunch, you're pretty much in luck, because basically that's most streams on the channel is one of us have done. Damien's done over 300 streams. I've barely scratched the surface. I've only just done over 100. Maybe I'm getting up to 150 now, but yeah. Julian, very kind of you to say that I'm good at engaging with the chat. I mean, it depends on the match. Sometimes I'll just focus on the match and I won't interact with the chat. I need other people to do that for me. But when I'm by myself, I prefer to interact with you guys. Because I don't do well trying to feed off it, especially when we run a match like this, which is so serve dominated. But I think if this was a much more dynamic match, I'd be focusing a lot more on the action. But it's very kind of you to say. I certainly think there are others who are better, like who are maybe better, like James and Damien are pretty good at keeping an eye on what you guys have to say as well. Because I do want to, you know, for those, like, I want to be mindful of those of you who may be watching who can't watch the match, and you're just you want some descriptions of what's going on. At the minute, I will send this up as it's a lot of serve domination, which is why you're not getting a lot of descriptions of rallies. We're into one now. Backhand cross court from Fritz, slice from Raonic cross court, backhand cross court to the backhand of Raonic just pulls it wide. It's 30-15. Yeah. Don't ever think, by the way, you can't contribute when there's multiple hosts, because we do still want to hear from you. Because what I love about chat is you guys throw in some questions that we can discuss and like have a chat about whilst it's going on, and we can kind of involve, and you could kind of set the agenda to a certain extent. Depending what the action is. It's 40-15, by the way. Interesting point from Jake here. Yeah, agreed. Like when behind, it's yeah, agreed with that. Like that, both players are much better proactively. That being said, in terms of defense, I do think Fritz is showing the better defense of the two, and that might be one of the reasons why he's currently leading by a set. That, and also that and also Raonic overplaying in the tiebreak. Yeah, agreed, Sean. Yeah, sometimes chat is like the producer in the earpiece when we don't have or like we've got multiple producers. Yeah, has anyone had breakpoint in this match? Jake is answering the question for you, but yes, we have. Raonic had 3 breakpoint opportunities a couple of games ago, which I was talking us through. Raonic had 3 breakpoints. He had love 40 on the Fritz serve. What was the score? I think it was 2-1 Raonic, and Fritz got it back to 2-2. Exactly right, Jake. I do have a feeling that if Raonic loses this match, he's going to have some regrets about it, because he had a chance in that tiebreak. He was up in that tiebreak multiple times. He had an opportunity to break Fritz as well. Yeah, he's just not taking the opportunities that he's making for himself. Love games for Ashley. I think I've had a few. I haven't been counting, but there's definitely been a few love games. We might be in danger of one here as Raonic is serving at 30 love. And on your point, Julian, about Kasatkina and Kudermetova, I think Kasatkina has not fully declined yet. She does perform well at the odd tournament. It's just a lot of the tournaments we perform that tend to be 500s. but she has good weeks still. It's just not week after week after week like a lot of players ranked above her. Kudermetova is a whole different question. Kudermetova has slid quite dramatically, but I wouldn't like. I'd still say if Kudermetova is still top 100, she's still deservedly that. Like being top 100 is nothing to be ashamed of. We're at change of ends, by the way. 4-3. Raonic holding there. Wild cards at Wimbledon. Oh, here we go. Yes, the controversial question. A lot of people. It's always this always generates discussion. So I'm going to throw this question at you guys actually in chat. Julian, Ashley, Jake, Nerlan, if you're still there, and Matthew, if you're still there, Sean as well. Sorry, hang on a minute. Excuse me. Here's my question. If you were hired as the wildcard consultant for Wimbledon, who would you tell them to give wildcards to? You have a maximum of 8 for men and 8 for the women. But what I would say is you don't have to fill all 8. You could just give 1 or 2 players and then say, I don't care who else you give wildcards to. Make sure that these 2 or 3 or 4, whoever. Ghosty, hello. Yes, so come on, I want to hear you getting this as well. You guys, like we are the Wimbledon wildcard committee. Who are we putting up for wildcards? Who are you saying we need to make sure we give wildcards to these people? I want to hear your thoughts on the subject. Because to me, there were only like a couple of names on there that was like, really? But other than that, I was pretty okay with it, especially with so many Brits. You need to, like, Brits sell tickets, especially Emma Raducanu. And by the way, as far as I'm concerned, Emma Raducanu can have a Wimbledon wildcard for life. Just by virtue of being a Grand Slam champion. I think she deserves it. Which Caroline, Ashley? There's multiple Carolines. Yeah, Ghosty always seems to miss Nerland, Jake. You know, I very rarely see them in the same room. Very love for Fritz, by the way. By the way, Ghosty, this match isn't this match. I might not provide a lot of action from it. It's been very serve dominated. Yeah, Ghosty Nerland was here earlier. Oh, actually, you give Hannah Klugman a wild card. Yes, I could see why. One question though: how old is Hannah? Go look her up. She is. So she's born in 2009, so she's still 15. I don't know if that's too early to give someone a wild card at 15. I mean, Goff and Andreeva did well at 15. It depends if Klugman's in that same category as those two in terms of talent potential. Backhand from Fritz. The forehand of Raonic is moving Fritz from side to side. Great forehand cross court from Fritz, but the drop shot from Raonic from Fritz way out of court was brilliant, and it's 40-30. Caroline Wozniacki is Ashley's pick. So, yeah, I could see that, yeah. Grand Slam champion. She doesn't have a great Wimbledon record, though, Wozniacki, I don't think. I think she's been, like, quarterfinals maybe once. But yeah, obviously the Wimbledon committee gave her a wild card. I certainly think as a Grand Slam champion, she should be considered. So no issues with that. And I think four out of the 8 wild cards are Grand Slam champions. Yeah, okay. Thanks, Jake, for confirming that. Yes, and Ghosty, Andy Murray did retire from his match. Unfortunately, he tweaked his back in the warm-up and he just couldn't get any. He was just in pain for the whole thing and just quit. So it's a shame that that's how it finished, really. Backhand. Oh, missed hit backhand from Fritz, from Raonic, trying to get a handle on that return, and Fritz moves to advantage. Julian Ashley going for Kerber for wild cards. Agreed. Andreescu, yes, Julian. I think Andreescu gets in with a protected ranking. I think Andreescu's entered with a protected ranking anyway, so she should be fine anyway. So basically, if you gave Andreescu a wild card, it would free up space in the draw for the next lowest ranked person. But Andreescu would be playing anyway. Halep, controversial pick. Here we go. Yes, and we're already seeing that Jake and Ashley are not happy with that pick from Julian Halep. But I certainly think that she should have been in the conversation in that room. Great, you agree with me on Vika being a dark horse, Ghosty. I agree. I think she's the leading dark horse to maybe pull off an upset and be that main sort of unexpected title win. Yeah, Raonic, I think, should be in the running for one, especially off the form he's showing at the minute. At the minute, he's in the qualifying draw. So unless Wimbledon relent and give him a qualifying, give him a wild card, Raonic is going to have to go through qualifying. I definitely think Raonic should be in the running for it. Huge first serve out wide from Raonic. Yeah, Milos has hit 8 aces, but he's hit a heck of a lot of unreturnable serves as well. Like Fritz got a racket on it and couldn't get them over the net. So backhand slice from Raonic, cross court, drop shot from Fritz is going to be. Oh, he hits the line. It's 15 all. The drop shot from Fritz has been really effective today. And Jake, yeah, but you're right. Like his +1's been pretty good on the whole, apart from in that tiebreak. Billy Harris, yeah, I think I agree with you, Ashley. He's someone who should definitely be considered for a wild card, especially given his performance in Queens. Even if he doesn't win another match, Queens and Nottingham have been good for him. Backhand from Raonic, the backhand of Fritz, backhand from Raonic up the line, forehand Fritz cross court, forehand Raonic into the net, 15-30. Fritz is carving himself an opportunity here. Ghosty, I think Duckworth's made it, but I could be wrong. But I think Duckworth might have scraped in. I'd have to look at the entry list. But if not, that's an interesting choice for a wild card. I'd be up for that. Team is not getting a wild card. I mean, in our fantasy world, we could give him one, but he's not getting a wild card. He was just outside the rankings to automatically get into Wimbledon. Yeah. So 30 all, by the way. Raonic, first serve, brilliant. But it's still 30 all. Critical point in this match. First serve out wide from Raonic is an ace. There's the ace that Ghosty's been waiting for. Team accepts that. Oh, wait, no, it was let. It was Fritz is challenging the serve. It was well out. Second serve from Raonic. Unreturnable, as Jake describes. And yeah, very, very good from Milos Raonic there. 40-30, moves to game point. And a lot of his second serves today have been either unreturnable or even pulled off aces with his second serve. Albeit he went for a little bit too much on one of them during the tiebreak, and that's how he lost one of his mini breaks. Return from Fritz. Oh, and the follow-up. Forehand into the net from Raonic. The +1 off the very good Fritz return. It's back to deuce. Yes, there are wild cards that remain unallocated within both the men's and the women's draws. However, traditionally, the wildcards tend to go to whoever wins the Ilkley Challenger that's happening right now as well, as a men and a women, because it's an ITF going on there as well. So keep an eye on Ilkley for seeing who's going to get that. Who's going to get that last wild card. Inside out, forehand from Raonic into the net. Advantage Fritz, break point. This is Fritz's first break point in the Raonic serve. It may be his only one. It may be the one that he needs. Going to focus on the match here. First serve from Raonic is good. Short return from Fritz. Forehand from Raonic. Fritz anticipates really well. Goes for the pass. He's got it! What a passing shot from Taylor Fritz. Unbelievable from Fritz. He played that so well. He anticipated where Raonic was going. He picked it up and he passed him, and he will serve for the match at 5-4. Oh, Damien, how long have you been
Hey, Nick, I was going to help you out. I was going to help you out with the third set, but well, I don't know if we're getting it.
Yeah, no, I don't think we are either. But it depends if Fritz gets tight, right?
I guess. I mean, on grass you can avoid getting tight. Just blast some big serves, you know.
You say that. That's what happened to Raonic in the first set. Raonic was a mini break up in the tie break 3 times, and then conceded it with one of them was a double fault. I can't remember what the first one was, and the third one, like, he was 5-4 up in the tie break, and he played 2 horrible points to go 6-5 down. Fritz served it out. So yeah, that's my summary of it. Is that Raonic should have won that first set tie break, but he got tight. So the question is, do we see?
Yeah, Fritz? I wasn't watching it. I watched a fair bit of Zhang Medvedev today. I mean, we basically ended play here at like 5 p.m. with the rain. So I did catch a lot of Zhang Medvedev, but Raonic Fritz I only turned on for the passing shot. So
yeah. Okay, so you weren't there for too long. Brilliant. Yeah, because I can't see it because of the way my setup is. But yeah.
No. It was half a minute.
Okay, I have left people waiting for ages before. Fritz is stepping up to serve, by the way. I might ask you about Zhang Medvedev in a minute. Huge first serve from Fritz. He's listened to Damien Ace, and it's 15-love. Yeah, I didn't see any of Zhang Medvedev. I was watching Fernandez Golubic in Birmingham, and then I went to turn the stream on, and people were telling me that Medvedev had lost. And I was like, what? I thought he was up in the match.
How did Golubic Fernandez even go? I don't know.
Fernandez came from a set down to win. She should have done it in she got broken in her first service game, and she was playing catch up the rest of the match basically, but she eventually turned it around.
Well, I mean, I turned on Fritz. He hit this ridiculous pass, and looks like he's gonna secure it.
Yeah, looks like it as well.
1 hour 22 minutes.
Yeah, unexpectedly long match for 2 big servers, right?
Yeah, that's still really short.
Yeah, Fritz is in full flow now, and I will have to say, actually, his defense and his rally tolerance has been better than Milos overall this match. Maybe that's due to sort of match fitness. I don't know. We've got 3 match points for Taylor Fritz. And then we've got an ace from Fritz to finish it appropriately for this match. The day's playing Queens is over in the singles. Taylor Fritz is through and still remains comfortably the highest seed left in that half of the draw.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of still feel like I'm going to be picking Milos Raonic to qualify at Wimbledon, regardless of his draw. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame that, you know, what she told me about him like not being too clutch in that tiebreak. But I mean, quality, he clearly still has it. 47 aces against Cam Norrie, of course, a record.
Yes, I mean, that was a lot of buzz about that match afterwards, and it was a good win for Milos, and he's definitely playing well on the grass. So I think definitely a missed opportunity for him because he also had love 40 on the Fritz serve early in the second set as well. So real missed opportunity this match, I think.
How about the decision today that he didn't get a wild card? Do you think that's fine? Is it...
I think that I'm okay with Wimbledon overwhelmingly backing Brits. Having said that, there was I think there was at least one Brit that they could have swapped out for Raonic, but he's the only one non-British person I can think that was obviously give a wild card to.
I also thought about Team.
Yeah, but his Wimbledon history isn't amazing.
I know. Last year, Arthur Fields got it, and Petri Pericard is in a similar position now in terms of winning Lyon, being deep in the top 100. But of course, the hype is different. He's 1 year older. He's doing it 1 year later, so I can get it. Yeah, I think Milos was the best choice out of the non-Brits, but I can't really argue with the selections either. I think maybe Choinski could have been skipped despite being pretty high ranked. Maybe one of Ferry or Job, but I can't really argue with it. I think there was just more competition, this year, because usually guys like Fernley or Searle, they would be getting qualifying wildcards. But I mean, Henry is such a big prospect, obviously won Wimbledon Juniors and also doing well on the grass this year. Whereas Fernley, before Nottingham, I don't know if he would have gotten a qualifying wildcard. But after he wins that Nottingham title, you just gotta give it to him. So I think he was a bit unlucky, maybe Raonic, that Fernley won Nottingham. Maybe in the other case he gets it. Of course, he could have played Ilkley and gone for a wild card instead of Queens. But I'm just excited to see him in that event. It's going to be pretty wild to see Raonic play Wimbledon qualies.
Is Team going to do Wimbledon qualies?
No, he's not signed up.
Okay, so it doesn't look like Team's going to do Wimbledon then. Here's a question, by the way, because I posed a question to the chat, who would you be putting forward for wild cards at Wimbledon? And Ghosty put forward James Duckworth, but I couldn't remember if he was in the main draw already or not.
Well, I mean, we can check that.
Yeah.
In a second, but Ducky, sure. I think he could be in the conversation. I mean, Stuttgart quarters, a lot of quarters this. A very good season for him. I would assume he is third on the list on the alternate list right now. So it's not clear if he makes it. We've got Van Asch, Bergs, and Duckworth.
Well, he's now 2 because
yes, the Hečka falling out is already included because Botic Van de Zandschulp got in then. So it's Van Asch, Bergs, or Duckworth. So Duckworth would be in the conversation. Currently, Duckworth is supposed to be the 4th seed in the qualifying. There's some very high rankings in there with Petri Pericard at 67, Gaston at 69, Bergs at 77. So there's a fair few candidates like this. Yeah, I mean, Tim van Rijthoven obviously got a wild card in 2022. Fields, as I said last year. So Wimbledon has been known to go a little bolder, but I think Duckworth, just with all the Brits that were there this year, with the competition being stronger and potential Raonic team, that's probably a little too left field, but I like that.
And there's a lot of British guys in there with potential, so you have to kind of reflect that because you want that British story if you're a Wimbledon organizer, right? By the way, Jake's got a question for you, Damien. He asked me this earlier, so he's already heard my answer. But you want to throw your hat into the ring on this one?
In the post-Djokovic era, maybe. Is Milos Raonic better than Matteo Berrettini, who made the final in 2021 and took a set off Djokovic? Probably. Peak Raonic, I mean, I guess I can say for sure. So in the current era, we kind of have this situation, I guess, for this Wimbledon, where if Sinner and Alcaraz lose to someone, and Raonic or Berrettini would be great upset picks. So then it gets really open. So I would say he has a shot, at least,
Yeah.
And
so
this is course, he made the final in 2016. So
this is obviously the Raonic from 5 to 6 years ago. The Raonic, he was kind of still in
2016. I would say was his best year, probably. I would even say maybe he played better in Australia that year than Wimbledon, but that was probably his peak. And of course the ATP finals later. Yeah, I think 2016 we have to talk about as peak Raonic.
Yeah, that's his peak. I think Jake's said 5 to 6 years. So that'd be the Raonic from 2018, 2019, who was just about in the fight for making Wimbledon quarters, but was a shadow of what the 2016 Raonic was.
Oh yeah, and like Federer killed him in 2019.
But then pretty much, I think, if I remember that year, all the quarterfinalists who had to face a big three player were just wiped out.
I was thinking about 2017, by the way. What am I talking about? I actually don't remember what Raonic was doing in 2018-19. It probably means that he wasn't ready. Yeah, I didn't even remember who he lost to in 2019. 18, I guess. 18 was a big shot for him, I suppose, because I think he lost to Isner or Anderson in the quarters. No, it has to be Isner because Anderson beat Federer. So it has to be Isner, and then he would have played Anderson in the semis, and then he plays Djokovic, of course, which is never easy, but maybe that's a chance we can look back at. But yeah, I suppose so. I think he'd have a shot. Yeah, we've been talking about a very open Wimbledon sort of for the past few years. If Djokovic loses, he never did really not until the final last year. But right now, I think we can kind of start talking about Sinner and Alcaraz in a similar way. They should be more vulnerable than clay, right? I mean, it's just how the surface works and also their own experience not being that amazing yet, even if Carlos has won it. I think grass also in the past, like the last few years, especially when COVID hit in 2020 and we didn't get that season. Thank you, Julian, by the way. If in 2020 COVID struck and we kind of had this situation where a lot of youngsters just missed a year of experience on on grass. And I think that kind of only strengthens the gap that players like, I don't know, Cilic, Murray, and Raonic and the likes had over the rest of the field. I don't know if it still applies, though.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's difficult to say, but like, yeah, right now, Alcaraz and Sinner, although maybe somewhat more vulnerable than those stronger grass court players from bygone years have, and they're only more vulnerable because we don't have as much data on them yet. To us, like I think that's one of the reasons why we perceive that. But right now, yeah, it's open if Alcaraz or Sinner aren't on it. So, yeah, at the minute, I would agree with you. It's between those two, and I think it's fascinating that they're in different tournaments right now. By the way, obviously, I want to ask you because you said you've seen Zhang Medvedev. I haven't. There are people in the chat who have, and obviously reminding me that obviously Zhang won. What happened? Was that just was Zhang playing amazing? Was Medi off? I heard he hit his racket a couple of times.
Yeah, including after match point. Nothing spectacular, to be honest. I mean, it was really like nothing separating them for a while. I think Daniel's serving was fine. That was kind of something that a lot of us were talking about before the grass season, right? That like this is the part of the year where he really needs it. And recently he had these shoulder problems. He couldn't practice his serve as heavily as before. But I think it was fine. Obviously, the patterns of play where that Zhang was the one blasting away and trying to close down the net. He was great there, by the way. And Daniil maybe in the key moments could have been a little more aggressive, but as we know, that's not really his comfort zone and stuff. But yeah, from 3-5 down, basically Zhang played like 4 pretty perfect points. Lots of them just super quickly won. There was one unreturned serve, but even on return, he was hitting these 1-2 punches. And I guess it was, just a matter of a couple of key points, as it often boils down to on grass. And Zhang managed to win them. Someone recently was going at me on Twitter for saying that Zhang is a player with upset potential. I mean, I think he's definitely one of my bets. If there's a top player that needs to be beaten, there are a few guys like Zhang, Marozhan that I will always give a chance to. So I don't think it's particularly surprising. Maybe Medvedev gets away with it if it's best of 5 at Wimbledon. He would hope so. Definitely a different grass as well at Wimbledon. Probably a less favorable to guys like Zhang. But yeah, it was a great match from the Chinese, and he will play Christopher Eubanks. So it's a pretty wild section there now.
Yeah, Eubanks coming through against Bublik. I was very happy to see that because it just shows there's still some life in Eubanks somewhere deep inside. So Eubanks, maybe grass is where is the only place where he's going to come alive, and he's going to go down as being a grass court specialist.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he is defending so many points the next few weeks, right? 610 across Mallorca and Wimbledon. So he needs any wins he can find right now. And of course, this year he has not been finding them. But yeah, he beats Martinez here, which is a very good draw. Bublik, I guess, they just blast the serves and see whoever wins. So there was a nice matchup, I think, for Chris, given that it's so easy for him to make this one a bit of a lottery. Of course, it's still not easy. I mean, the defending champion, Bublik and stuff. But yeah, it's a huge opportunity for both of them right now. It's that quarter. I think that's half of the draw in Halle now has Zhang Eubanks and then Fils Zverev. Well, if Zverev closes out Sonego, so provided that Zverev is not suddenly going to turn into a grass monster, they will all be looking at this as even a proper opportunity to reach the final.
I would agree with that. And Zverev on grass becoming a monster probably is unlikely at this point. But you never know. Yeah, Zverev obviously 4-5 down the second set to Sonego, but he's serving to sort of stay in that set. There's not much singles action going on actually, but pretty much at the end of the day now. I guess tomorrow the key matches that I think we're all getting excited about are probably, Queen's Club, which we've mentioned a little bit. I think I've seen mentioned in the chat. Alcaraz Draper. Matthew's predicting that Carlsen wins in 2 sets and Draper only wins 5 games. Is that harsh for Jack?
I mean, it's definitely quite a tough second round there for Carlos. I didn't see his opener against Cerundolo. I know that he was 2-5 down in one set, one of the sets, came back. All in all, I just don't really think that this event will tell us, will really change Alcaraz's position ahead of Wimbledon. I don't think it will suddenly make him not one of the favorites. So I don't really think that's he can lose to Draper and it's not going to change that much, and he can definitely lose to Draper because Draper is so dangerous. And as I think we said on the ATP Weekly, just the fact that Jack will be seated at Wimbledon is definitely going to make life easier for some of the top or for at least one top seed. So I do think that Jack can win it for sure, and it's going to be a pretty hard struggle for Alcaraz. But I think the draw kind of opens up for him after that. But yeah, even if he loses in the second round in Queens, I think going into Wimbledon he'll have a similar position as we sort of pictured it before Queens and Halle.
And Sinner Marajan and Halle, how do you see that one going?
That's an interesting one. I mean, Fabi has so little experience on grass. I don't know. I mean, obviously the weapons are there. I see that he's not really perceived as a favorite. Let's say when it comes to the odds. Yeah, I'm kind of torn. I would love to say that I see a chance. I kind of don't, but I would like to be proven wrong. I mean, 4-3 against the top 10, Marojan. Obviously, someone who steps up for these big matches, takes time away, doesn't really allow the top players to show their quality. So maybe if he just has an absolute blinder, go ahead, right? But yeah, I don't know if it's happening. But sure, there's always that chance. As I mentioned earlier, with guys like Zhang, Marojan, there's always that chance. Apparently, also Daniel Altmaier, given his top 10 record, although in a very different way, I guess, of defeating the top seeds. But yeah, I'm definitely excited for that one. I don't know if I'm going to catch it. Kind of will depend on the Poznan action where we are at that time. But certainly, these two are the matches for tomorrow that will be exciting everyone in Halle, Queens, and all around the world.
Probably. I mean, obviously in the WTA side, they're playing catch up in Berlin as they only managed to complete one quarterfinal and complete the last 16. Siniakova and Zheng were rained off with Siniakova at 5-3 up in the first. So they've got to try and catch up through all of the last 16 matches tomorrow. Sorry, they've completed the last 32 today. They're trying to get through the last 16 set up quarterfinals for Friday. So big catch-up job in Berlin on the cards for the WTA event there.
Alexandrova Goff. Ooh, that's an upset in the making. That's an upset in the making.
Yes, that Goff was going to have a tough first match either way, because it was going to be either Alexandrova or Haddad Maia, both of whom aren't bad on grass. So,
yeah, I mean the whole Berlin slate looks great. So I guess John and Mario will have a field day tomorrow.
They are. There's going to be a lot coming our way. I think that's going to be a good. That's going to be a good one. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they bring us from there. Provide the rain holds. I mean, is it raining in Poznan? Has there been rain affecting the Challenger here?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's raining at the moment. I think I might go for a run soon, but it did rain today, and it started at like 5 p.m. maybe. It also was raining heavily last night, so it delayed the start of play. They had to use an additional court, which like gave them all sorts of technical issues because they weren't ready for it. And then since 5 p.m. we haven't been playing. So tomorrow it's double duty for a lot of players. Well, basically we've got, I think, because tomorrow should already be quarterfinal day, and I think we've got 4 round 16 matches only completed. In one case, this will be pretty tricky because there will be a player who plays twice in a day and the rival is already into the quarters. So I don't know how that's going to go, but in some cases, it's pretty even. Definitely the match of the day today, Mike Shakkarenu Busta. That was a shame that it got stopped, but we're going to be back to it tomorrow. 5-4 in the first for the poll, and then the winner will also have to play twice tomorrow. So it's going to be a very heavy day, definitely tomorrow in terms of the stacked schedule. There's already been a pair as well who decided to withdraw from the doubles because of the rain. Like, the schedule for them would have been crazy tomorrow. Okay. So it's been a little disrupted, mostly because all the challengers this week, they run on this Sunday, Saturday schedule, right, in order to accommodate the players who want to go to Wimbledon qualifying. So there's less space to manipulate, basically. It's even worse in Blois, at this French challenger, when they've basically had to move everything today indoors. And it's also a very fast, slick indoor hard court, whereas originally this tournament was supposed to be on clay. So it's definitely sort of added a lot of mess to the results. Some players like, I don't know, Carlos Taberner today didn't handle it well.
Okay, that's tennis for you, right?
Yeah.
Rain comes, you're playing catch up, but well, hopefully you get some action tomorrow that you can report on and enjoy. So I think that about wraps it up. I know Ashley wants us to cover the tiebreak that's happening in Halle between Sonego and Zverev, but I think I'm kind of done with this in a minute, and I know you're coming to us from a hotel in Poland, so Poznan. So I think I'm probably gonna call that one. But yeah, is there anything you wanted to kind of throw away, little tidbits, things to keep an eye out for tomorrow? Any thoughts on any other results from today that you wanted to ask about?
Probably not. I mean, I did see, I was following the live scores for Darderi Struff, which surprised me greatly.
I did catch that.
You did?
Yeah, I caught the tiebreak. Like, yes, Struff just kept missing match points. Just kept on missing match points. And like, he was very, like, Darderi only had like 1 match point, but Struff had just either sometimes Darderi would hit a good shot, but most of the time Struff got tight. He double faulted on one of the match points. So yeah, he eventually got it over the line, but it was a little sketchy.
I was very surprised with that one. I was expecting more of a Koboli-ish grass court performance from Darderi, but I mean, apparently he held firm. I mean, he was literally, on Sunday, he won a challenger in clay in Perugia. I don't think he had a grass court match to his. Well, I guess he played Wimbledon qualifying, but otherwise he didn't really have a grass court match to his name. And
yeah, I think that was his main draw grass debut.
Yeah, I think he played Wimbledon qualifying once, and apparently he also played that event. I'm just checking it now. He also played that famous event in Gaiba back in 2021, but it was also for the men's Wimbledon in Italy. And well, that was a very weird choice, I have to say, as he wasn't even in Wimbledon qualifying. He just played a random grass ITF in June. But yeah, last year he played Wimbledon qualies, so there was not much to indicate that he was going to come this close to Jan-Lennart Struff, but kudos to him. And Struff Tsitsipas is also a pretty nice match tomorrow. Of course, their head-to-head is definitely quite memorable, especially that Madrid upset that took Struff to the final eventually.
Yeah, on grass, Struff has to be the favourite for that, right?
Over Tsitsipas?
Yeah.
Interesting. I would say no. I'm gonna check how it is for the bookings. I am interested though. I think it will be pretty close, but I would assume. Oh, actually, it's like super close. You're gonna find some claiming Struff is the favorite, and you're gonna find some Tsitsipas claiming that Tsitsipas is the favorite. So I guess there's no answer to it.
Yeah, I'm backing Struff to win that one. Controversially, maybe. By the way, Sonego has gone 3-0 up in the second set tiebreak against Zverev with 2 mini breaks.
Wow.
So maybe Ashley was onto something with keeping an eye on that, but I certainly don't fancy covering the rest of that match. So
yeah, me neither.
So I think we'll call it. Thanks for coming on and keeping me company for the end of this. Hopefully everyone's going to enjoy some more grass court tennis over the course of the week, and hopefully we can get some streams up and running for the rest of the these tournaments, as Damien decided to leave early and then realised that we weren't done yet. No, I'm teasing you.
No.
I'm teasing
it
you.
was the
I know what really
yeah.
happened. You lost connection. But yeah, really appreciate you coming on. Thanks very much. And yeah, we'll catch the rest of you lovely people as well. Thanks everyone who's joined the chat today. Jake, Ashley, Matthew, Sean, Julian, and Ghosty, and Nerlan, as always. So see you all soon. But in the meantime, take care and keep talking tennis.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.